A dire situation for 3 kids in Arapahoe County who fell through a frozen pond. We're hearing from the woman who saved their lives. When all that remains of your home is ash, it's natural that you want to sift through what's left to see what survived the fire. Some people in Boulder County are offering a solution that's safe. The Broncos are all in on a search for a new head coach. We've got insight on their search, who they're considering, and who may remain just out of reach from our Broncos insider. 4 o'clock on 9 News starts now.
COVID-19 is leaving a mark on our schools across the country. In Georgia, teachers who test positive don't have to quarantine unless they develop symptoms, whereas in Chicago, a 4th straight day of canceled school as teachers say it's unsafe to return to in-person education.
I didn't choose to stop working. I've been trying to log in to teach remotely from home. I've been doing lesson plans. I've been sending my students work, because I do care about them. I know that this is disruptive to their education. However, I want to make sure that they are safe. I want to make sure that I am safe. I want to make sure my daughters and my elderly grandparents are safe as well.
It really is a test with no right answer, and schools across Colorado are making the same difficult decisions with COVID surging again.
9 News reporter Angeline McCall spoke with Adams 14 now that the district has decided to go fully remote, while others have taken a more Band-Aid approach.
What would typically be a loud classroom is quiet and empty at Adams City High School.
So we came to the conclusion that it was best for everybody involved for this week coming up, to move all instruction, teaching, and learning onto our virtual platform.
Dr. Robert Lundeen with Adams 14 says a 350% spike in COVID cases in the county prompted the district to be the first to move back entirely to virtual learning.
It's never an easy decision to make. School is a critical place for kids, not only their academic success, but their happiness and their well-being. And our teachers want to be in the place they know and love most, which is their classrooms. So it's hard to disrupt any of that.
Others have taken different approaches. Aurora plans for a delayed start on Mondays. DPS told parents in a newsletter rising cases could lead to occasional remote learning.
But there may become a place, and I think this is where Adams 14 was at, where it just is not manageable to have kind of this Band-Aid approach to sending people into remote.
Amy Vaca-Oler, president of the Colorado Education Association, says more cases could lead more districts to the same decision Adams 14 made.
Our system is very stressed right now. Our educators are under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. We're seeing it play out in their mental health and wellness. We're seeing it in our students.
Meaning the decisions made today could change quickly based on COVID cases and the overwhelming impact it has on the classroom. In Commerce City, Angeline McCall, 9 News.
Adams 14 plans to be remote for the entire week. The district plans to have an update for parents on what could happen next with in-person learning by Thursday.
We're taking a live look outside on a Monday afternoon, and you got a little snow out there, but a lot of sunshine. And Kathy, if you're sitting near a window, it's warm.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and it looks like January out there.
It does look like January.
Yeah. A nice day with light winds and that sunshine today, a lot of snow melt and just easy travel by foot or by car across the state. Outside, we have excellent visibility and temperatures still in the 50s this hour. We're monitoring a system off to the west that may bring in some high cirrus clouds tomorrow, but should be a great day on the slopes and decent travel on I-70 getting up to your favorite ski resort. We're still in the mid-50s in downtown Denver, a bit cooler up in areas like Greeley and Fort Collins. Fort Morgan sitting in the 40s for much of the day. The coldest air is east of us, extending from Minnesota down through Chicago and east toward Buffalo. We're looking at Fahrenheit temperatures below 0 for some of those areas this hour, while we sit above average in the mid-50s here, and quiet weather across the western U.S. The winds are light out of the south and will be shifting southwest overnight. The high and mid-level clouds that are kind of streaming in here really are not going to bring any precipitation in the form of rain or snow to us. And so this is a kind of our weather story, if you will. We go fair tonight, partly cloudy tomorrow, light winds, and another mild day with temperatures in the 50s coming up. After sunset, we'll drop into the 30s this evening. And in Maine weather, we're going to talk about the warming trend, how long it will last. We have a potential 60-degree day in there ahead of a Friday storm that could mean snow for some parts of Colorado. I'll have all those details coming up.
Right now, I-25 southbound is closed due to a police shooting in Larimer County. This is back up on the interstate at Prospect Road just before 3. The Larimer County Sheriff says their deputies were involved in a chase that ended at I-25 and Colorado Highway 14. They say shots were fired and a suspect was hurt. We're working to get more information about what exactly happened here, what led up to this shooting. Of course, as we learn more, we'll keep you updated. New York's mayor is calling it one of the worst fires in modern times. At least 17 people are dead, 8 of them young children, after a fire at a Bronx apartment complex. Officials say it was started by a space heater that malfunctioned. At least 63 people suffered severe smoke inhalation, and several remain in the hospital in critical condition tonight. Now fire crews and investigators are working through the charred rubble and debris left behind. More than a week after the Marshall fire, all that remains for some people are ashes. Sifting through the remains of a home is daunting. It's also a dangerous task. That's why a couple of nonprofits who have been vetted to do this work and help people in Boulder County, and they have volunteers trained to go through the ash and debris. They plan to help as many people as they possibly can. Here's 9 News reporter Noel Brennan.
There's a lot of help here. I mean, they're from everywhere.
When people are in need,
When I see people hurting, I want to help them.
Dennis Bells parks himself nearby.
We say we bring help, healing, and hope.
The director of Colorado Baptist Disaster Relief
This is our mass feeding unit.
hasn't stopped working since the Marshall fire,
I can't get her to take a break.
and neither have his volunteers.
Lots of work going on in here.
She's working hard. She works from like 7:30 in the morning till 7 o'clock at night. She's not even asking for a raise as a volunteer.
They're serving hot meals at the Disaster Assistance Center, and soon they'll be digging through debris.
They're trained, background checked, and credentialed so we can get into these areas.
Volunteers in PPE will sift and sort, looking for something to save.
Because people say there's nothing in the ash, but we always find things in the ash. So we were just up in Grand County this past year, and we found over 12 wedding bands.
The nonprofit is taking orders and will start sifting on Wednesday.
We're going over 300 right now, and we're expecting a lot more.
They'll help anyone who lost everything
Until we get the job done.
find something.
It brings us joy. This is a ministry to us. It's not a job, it's a ministry to be able to help people.
Noel Brennan reporting there. People can sign up for the sifting service at Disaster Assistance Center. Sifting through ash can be dangerous. It also poses a health risk. Boulder County's Office of Emergency Management strongly discourages anybody from doing this type of work on their own.
In just 2 days, thousands of King Soopers employees in the Denver metro area plan to strike. The contract covering 17,000 employees expired this weekend, and negotiations with the union have broken down. United Food and Commercial Workers Local 7 is accusing King Soopers of unfair labor practices, such as failing to provide necessary information and trying to negotiate directly with employees. UFCW Local 7 says it's seeking higher wages, better health benefits, and a safer work environment.
There's absolutely no reason when this company has done so well, while businesses and restaurants were closed, those companies were thriving, but our workers didn't thrive. You know what our workers got? COVID, attacked, beat up, spit on, slapped on, overworked. And the company, they did great. They did absolutely great, sitting behind their desk, doing their job by Zoom.
Over the weekend, King Soopers requested a federal mediator to help with the negotiations. UFCW Local 7 says they're not interested. They say more than 8,700 union members will join the picket line starting at 5 a.m. Wednesday. They will represent about 70 stores in Denver, Parker, Boulder, and Broomfield. Colorado Democratic Representative Ed Perlmutter announced today he will not be seeking re-election, putting an end to his 15-year stint in Congress. Perlmutter has held that office since 2007. He briefly ran for governor in 2017, dropped out of the race, though, to stay in Congress. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in Colorado's 7th district. It's a kind of an image of what Colorado is. Nearly half of the voters are unaffiliated, and the rest are pretty evenly split between Democrats and Republicans.
A woman is being called a hero after she saved 3 children who fell through a frozen pond over the weekend in Arapahoe County. 9 Wants to Know reporter Matt Jablow is in the information center following the story. And Matt, she saved the kids, but one of them isn't out of the woods just yet.
That's right, Alex. She's in serious condition, but is fortunately expected to survive. Keep in mind, this whole situation could have gone a whole different direction were it not for the actions of a Good Samaritan, a few sheriff's deputies, and South Metro paramedics. It happened right around 3:30 yesterday afternoon at an apartment complex on East Florida Avenue. That's where the Arapahoe Sheriff's Department says 3 young children, ages 4, 6, and 11, fell through a frozen pond they were playing on. Dusty Talavera, a resident who saw what was happening, quickly jumped onto the pond and pulled 2 of the kids out of the water, the 4-year-old and the 11-year-old. But she was having trouble rescuing the 6-year-old and then fell in the water herself. That's when the little girl's 16-year-old cousin jumped on the pond and, using a rope, pulled Dusty and the little girl out of the water. The little girl was not breathing, however, and had no pulse when Arapahoe deputies arrived. They immediately began CPR, and with the help of South Metro paramedics, she started breathing again on her own, and they rushed her to the hospital.
I just kind of put some shoes on and ran out. I just knew that nobody was really outside, so I mean, it was me, I just knew it was me that had to do it. Before I even realized that I was out there on the middle of the pond pulling 2 kids out.
What she did was amazing. We were back at the fire station talking about how brave she was, how great the officers did. And gosh, I hope if this happened to one of mine that somebody like her was close by.
I asked Dusty Talavera what it felt like to be called a hero today. She said, pretty cool indeed. She says she has not yet spoken to the family of the girl she rescued, but she's hoping to soon. Kim and Alex?
Hope they have they probably have a very big thank you for her as well. That is just incredible.
Well, to hear the firefighters, I mean, they know the danger, and they've seen this, and this outcome often is not what we saw in this case, Matt, sadly.
They said if it weren't for Dusty, there's a very good chance that little girl and the 2 other kids would not have survived.
No. We saw that come out yesterday afternoon, and your heart just sinks. It's like, no, because it's really dangerous right now. It's cold, but it's not cold.
And everybody today, all the paramedics and the sheriff's deputies said this should serve as a cautionary tale to parents to teach their kids not to play on frozen ice in the wintertime in Colorado. It can be deceiving because it's warm out, because it's cold out, and it looks like the water is frozen, but often it's not, especially when we get warm days like this.
Oh yeah, a lesson to me, that's for sure. Matt, thank you.
Thank you.